I'm Gehi with Green Card on Gehi. So, as always, the breaking news from the world of immigration. The breaking news is that deportations are down by 70% under the Biden administration. So, we all can understand how difficult it was for all of us to navigate under the Trump administration. So under the Trump administration, deportations were a priority, but now, since we have a good president, we are seeing a big decline in deportations from the United States. Also, the other good news is that the detentions in immigration are down by 40%. That's a big number. The priorities of immigration have changed, and right now, the priority of ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is to make sure that they deport people with serious criminal records, which means aggravated felons from the United States of America. So, today, as I promised to you all, we are going to talk about complicated issues in marriage based immigration cases. So, we're going to first talk about the basics, and after we go through the basics, we're going to make sure that we hit on some of the complicated issues that affect people in marriage based immigration cases. So, first and foremost, now take an example. You're living in the United States, you came on a visit visa to this country, or you came in on any other non immigrant visa. Now you got married to an American citizen. So this American citizen has sponsored you for your green card. And after the filing of the papers, now your spouse is saying, I'm not going to go with you for the green card interview. Your US citizen spouse is saying that exactly do not expect any cooperation from you. Your US citizen spouse is saying, I'm going to get you deported from the United States. She is making your life miserable. Now, if you are being subjected to extreme cruelty by your US citizen spouse, the good news is that you may still be eligible for relief under the Immigration and Nationality Act. You may be eligible for relief under the immigration laws of the United States. So people ask me, how can that happen? If you have been subjected to severe mental abuse, for example, you have been subjected to severe and debilitating mental abuse, you have been subjected to physical abuse, and now you cannot take that abuse any longer from your US citizen spouse. In other words, your life has been made miserable by your US citizen spouse and you are subjected to extreme cruelty. Now, as an option, the law allows you to apply for your green card on your own. So that means no help needed from the US citizen spouse. That's great news. So, what can you do in this situation? Immediately get in touch with a highly experienced immigration lawyer. Now, a person asked me a question that I have a lawyer working for me, and my US citizen spouse had appointed that lawyer. And now my US citizen spouse is abusing me. Can that lawyer handle my case? The answer is no. You may have to change your lawyer because your case has changed. The facts and circumstances of your case has changed, and you can consider relief under the Violence Against Women's Act. So the Violence Against Women's Act is also applicable to men. Now, what does that mean? So if you are married to a woman over here, and right now, if that lady is abusing you, you can still apply as a battered spouse under the Violence Against Women's Act, even if you are a man. So someone told me, how is that possible when the name of the law is Violence Against Women's Act. This was because in the past, when Congress had reviewed this law, they had observed that a lot of violence acts happen against women, but they forgot that violence can also happen to men. So the thing is that it's a two-way traffic. Sometimes a woman, she can change colors, she can beat you up, she can abuse you. Sometimes basically a man can beat you up. So it applies to both the sides of the aisle. So it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. As far as you are subjected to extreme cruelty, you can file for an application. Now, there are very important questions relating to these issues. Now, what happens if you entered the United States without a visa? You cross the border and you're married to this US citizen spouse who's abusing you. And this spouse has not even applied for your green card. Look at the question. You're just married to an American citizen, and this US citizen spouse has not even filed any single document with immigration. The good news is you can still apply for your green card under the Violence Against Women's Act by submitting an application on your own. So this means that you file the application on your own. You do not need any signatures from the US citizen spouse. Isn't that wonderful? That's awesome. So the thing is that after basically your application is approved, you can be eligible for a green card in the United States. So we've done a lot of these cases wherein people they get married, and of course we all believe that we want to be happy if we are married. But sometimes your dreams get drowned when you meet the wrong person in your life. So therefore, it would be in your best interest wherever you're in the country. It doesn't matter. You can choose a lawyer from anywhere in the United States for these cases. Make sure that the lawyer is highly experienced, especially because these cases need a lot of time and attention. A lot of time and attention is needed in these cases. Then after that, once if you're approved, the great news is you can get a permanent 10-year green card. A permanent 10-year green card if you win these cases. So this is fantastic for all of you. So there's nothing for you to be scared from your US citizen spouse, especially if the US citizen is threatening you and telling you that if you do not leave my house, I'm going to get you deported. I'm going to call immigration on you. So don't be scared. Even if you're new to this country, get in touch with a lawyer, especially because there may be light at the end of the tunnel. So always protect your legal rights. They are critically important. So we just spoke about one issue wherein your spouse is abusive and she doesn't want to go with you for the green card interview. Now let's take another example of a case wherein you are married and you went for your immigration interview and the officer was not happy with your interview. Let's talk about this in detail. So you're married to an American citizen and you file the papers on your own, or some other person helped you to file the papers, or you hired a lawyer and the lawyer filed the papers. You had an interview, but unfortunately, when you went for the interview, you were asked a lot of questions, and that is very normal because sometimes people underestimate what immigration officers are going to ask you. And some people like to do the paperwork on their own and they commit mistakes. They don't take the right documents, they miss out on the documents, and then their paperwork gets denied. That's a big problem. So before you get any denial, the most important thing for you is to make sure that you file the right documents, work with an attorney of your choice, and make sure that you nail the interview. Because Instead of nail, if you fail, that's a bigger problem. Instead of nail, if you fail, that's a bigger problem. What is the problem? You are going to be subjected to a Stokes interview. A Stokes interview is a very difficult interview, and we've handled a lot of Stokes interviews, lots of them. And if you are ever called for the second interview by immigration, most probably that is a Stokes interview. And when it's a Stokes interview, you have to make sure that you take a very experienced lawyer. And if your preparation is really good, you can pass the Stokes interview and qualify for a green card. Has that happened before? Yes, we've done it on many occasions. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. So make sure that if you do not do well on your first interview, second time, make sure you fire with all your guns. And if you do fire with all your guns, the good news is that you may qualify for a green card. Now, the third thing that happens is that sometimes people get married. And now, after you get married, the problem is that your US citizen spouse wants a divorce from you. And you're in the middle of this divorce. And your US citizen spouse is saying that at the end of the day, I need this divorce. I'm not going to go with you for the interview. Get a lawyer involved right away. Don't just basically allow your spouse to just tell you a goodbye if your green card is in process, because she is going to have the last laugh or he is going to have the last laugh. If your papers are in the pipeline, talk to a lawyer who knows immigration as well as matrimonial. Like in our firm, we do matrimonial law and we also do immigration law. So on many occasions, we've been able to bring about a settlement between the parties wherein they say that yes, we have a kid, we are married, and now the thing is that we want to make sure that everyone basically walks out happily even if the marriage didn't work out. So some matrimonial lawyers just tell you, forget your green card, get the divorce and move on. Never allow that to happen. First, investigate your case, get a second opinion, and then you make a decision. Because if you are going to lose your green card, it's going to be very hard upon you. And I've seen people who have 2-year green cards, and in between the divorce happens. Never allow that to happen. So if it happens, make sure that you're fully protected. Just make sure that you have all the documents in order. Make sure that you should be allowed to continue with your green card process if you have the right documents from the US citizen spouse. Now, these things are very important because, when you are going to go and apply for your green card, people think that your new file is going to come up right away. The answer is no. Immigration looks at everything in your case when they give you a green card. Yes, they look at everything. I know some of you might be stunned because the common myth, misunderstanding, and the misconception is that people think that immigration is only going to look at my new case. They are going to first look at your old case before they make a decision on your immigration matter. Third important thing which I've observed in marriage-based immigration cases is that you're married and now you got your work permit, you're very happy, you're dancing, and you got your driver's license, you got your social security number, but unfortunately, you did not show up at that immigration interview. Be very careful. You need to look at the denial decision immediately. Do not take a chance on your denial decision because sometimes if the denial decision even mentions that you failed to interview, you failed to come in and we suspect immigration fraud or like it's going to leave you without status in this country, consult an immigration lawyer. Because once if your application is denied and if you do not have If your application is denied and if you do not have legal status in this country, the problem is then you are completely illegal, commonly referred to as you become undocumented, and then you are at a risk of being picked up. Now, if you're out of status, or even if you're on a visitor visa, someone asked me a question. If I'm caught working in the US, what happens? And if I'm not allowed to work? Very simple. They're first going to handcuff you, put you in jail, and then you may be spending a lot of money on bond to come out of the jail first, and that if you're bondable under section 235, 236 of the act. But if you're subjected to mandatory detention, if you committed a crime, then forget it. There's no bond then. So once if you are arrested by ICE, in most cases they will allow you to come out on a bond, and those bonds can be very expensive, $15,000, $25,000. So it's good for you to always stay legal in the United States of America. Never take your legal status for granted. If you're out of status, if you're undocumented, consider getting married to a US citizen, then you will be eligible for a green card. So we have a lot of questions, and I have one question that I'm planning on taking now, but after that, we are opening up this flow for questions from all of you. So feel free to ask me your questions because this is a live show with Attorney Gehi every week, same time, same place, means 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live with Attorney Gehi for all your immigration questions and answers. Not only about marriage-based immigration, about every aspect of US immigration. You can ask me a question and I'll try my best to answer it for you. Only on Green Card with Gehi. So let's start the questions, and I'm going to take some questions and I'll also make sure that I read all your questions and answer everything for you. So what is a marriage-based green card? A marriage-based green card means that you are married and you have gotten your green card based upon your marriage to a green card holder or to a US citizen. That is what is meant by marriage-based green card. Another question is how long after my marriage can I apply for a green card? I'm currently based in Pakistan and my fiance is in the US. So you can apply for a green card if you are married. Once if the US citizen comes here, he can apply immediately for your green card. So there's no waiting period. Once you get married, then you can proceed. What documents I need for a green card? I'm based in India. So first you need to I need your marriage certificate and I need a copy of your passport, and later on I can go through everything. And once the firm is retained, because every country is different, because the laws are different in every country. So we'll have to look at the rest of the document, and of course the US citizen has to show proof of his citizenship. So those are the basic documents that are needed. What is the difference between a fiance and a marriage visa? A fiance generally means a person who is about to get married to an American citizen upon their entry in the United States. That's a K1 fiance. K3 fiance is someone who is married, wants to come to America, and wants to apply for adjustment of status in the US. How long does it take to get a green card? I'm based in the Philippines. If you get married, we can get you here in approximately one and a half year from the Philippines. Yes, of course, we had many clients from the Philippines. And if you're from the Philippines, I need to tell you hello in your language. Kumusta? Babute. So let's go for the next question of the day. What are the income requirements for marriage visa? So Section 213 of the Immigration and Nationality Act speaks about the income requirements, and you have to make sure that you do not become a public charge, and that is critically important. So therefore, it is very good for you to have a qualified attorney who can handle all those things, because if your income is not enough or if the paperwork is not done correctly, your immigration case can be denied. All right, very good questions today. How should I prepare for my marriage green card interview? That can be a tough question. You need to have a very good qualified lawyer who can question you at length. And do not, please do not take that interview for granted. Do not take it lightly because some of these officers are very well trained to detect marriage fraud. And some people tell me that, Mr. Gay, I'm happily married. Remember, you can only apply for your green card when you're happily married. So every person is presumed to be happily married, but if your questioning is not properly done, the sad thing is that even if you have the best marriage, if the officer is not happy with your documents or with your testimony, your case will be denied. All right, how do we prove our marriage is a real bona fide? We met online and got arranged. That's a tough question. You need to make sure that you have all the evidence with you. You need to make sure that you have a lot of documents. You need to make sure that your answers are perfect. A while ago, I heard this from a client that a person went for an interview and he said that I answered 9 of the 10 questions properly, and one question I blew up. The officer was correct because if he suspects your marriage, even on one question, he can deny your case. So be very careful because under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the burden of proof is completely upon you to show by a preponderance of evidence that your marriage is bona fide. So you get a qualified lawyer when you're handling marriage-based immigration cases. Next question. When can I visit my spouse in the United States? I'm currently based in the Ukraine. Very sad that you're based in Ukraine. So what you need to do, my prayers and good wishes to your spouse in Ukraine. Uh, the best thing for you to do is to apply from the United States and get your spouse here. And if your spouse has a visitor visa, she should at least come to America to visit you, and so we can discuss the future from there accordingly. So that is very important. Next question, how can I know if I'm eligible to get my green card in the US? If I'm married to a US citizen, what if I came to the US legally with a visa but then overstayed? But then can I still get my green card? Now, this is such a good question. You came in on a student visa, you came in on any other visa, you have overstayed your visa. So the good news is if you marry a US citizen, if you marry an American citizen, you may still be eligible to get a green card in the United States. Next question, do husbands and wives of US citizens have to wait before they can apply for their card in the United States? So if you come to the United States from abroad, then after that you have to wait and then you're going to get the green card in the mail. So that is standard procedure. How long does USCIS take to make a decision on a marriage-based green card application? And what is the process? Give or take, we've handled marriage-based immigrations from all over the United States and the world. So even if in Arizona, if you're looking at the show in Georgia, if you're in Alabama, if you're in Mississippi, if you're in California, if you're in Chicago, doesn't matter where you are. Based upon our analysis, the average time to get a green card now is 8 months to 12 months. If you are in America, if you're abroad, we've handled cases from most of the countries of the world. The average time is around 14 to 16 months. So if you're in Haiti, if you're in Suriname, if you're in India, if you're in Pakistan, if you're in the UK, if you're in New Zealand, if you're in Switzerland, if you're in Brazil, if you're in South America, wherever you are, if you're in Guatemala, Mexico, or Vietnam, Cambodia, wherever you are, it's around 14 to 16 months. What is the process for husbands and wives of US citizens to get green card outside the United States? The procedure is that we start with the paperwork from the US, then the case gets transferred to the National Visa Center, then after that an interview is arranged by the American consulate, and once if everything goes through, then you can come to the United States happily on a green card to America. So these are some of the questions we have from our viewers, and wow, a lot of questions today, folks. I love your questions, and Continue the tradition of excellence by asking questions and sharing the video with your friends. And remember, let them know that we are live on Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share the news, and we want to see a lot more interaction like this. You folks are doing awesome. I'm waiting for your questions. I'm a single mom based here in the US and I am a citizen, but my fiance is in Jamaica. I want to know when can my fiance move and work here? All right, so if you want him to work, get married to him. So when he comes on the green card, we'll make sure that he starts working once he's here within the next couple of months. He gets his green card, he'll start working in America. So get married, come in and see us. We've handled a lot of cases from Kingston, Jamaica, and that's where the interview is going to be held. And then once if he's here on a green card, then he can get his social, get his driver's license, and he can start working. Can children come with their parent beneficiary of the marriage-based visa petition? Yes, they can come, provided you got married to your spouse when the child was under 18. So, which means that, take an example, you are an American citizen here, you got married to somebody in Spain, and that woman has a baby, and the baby is 16 years old, but you got married, 17, you're fine. If it's above 18, then that child cannot come. So, the child has to be under the age of 18. So that's a very, very good question. And so this is what marriage-based immigration entails. And of course, there are many, many complicated issues that come up in marriage-based immigration. So we've dealt with, spouses getting beaten up, and they're scared, they're nervous, and it's very, very important for them to go with a lawyer who has handled many, many cases related to marriage-based immigration. Our expertise is marriage-based immigration. I've done marriage-based immigration for many, many years, and we've handled many, many complicated cases relating to marriage-based immigration. If you are in a situation wherein you want to apply for your marriage-based immigration case, doesn't matter where you are, we may be able to assist you. Some other important questions, and this is going to surprise our viewers. Yes, I leave the best for the last. I had a question from someone who lives abroad, and this person told me that she got married to an American citizen and she was in America. Then this person was abused, and this person was put on a plane and sent back to a home country and told never to return to America. The good news is that you may be able to come back depending upon the facts and circumstances of your case. So even if your US citizen spouse put you on a plane and send you back to your country, there may be light at the end of the tunnel. There may be light at the end of the tunnel depending upon the facts and circumstances of your case. When the great get going, the going gets great. The Lord is the strength of the strong. Fortune favors the brave. Do not give up. Fight for your green card, and you may be able to come back to America. So let's see one more question for the day, and we are hitting our time, which is going to be 2:30. So let's look at the last few questions. We said what's the difference between a K1? A K1 happens before marriage, and a K3 happens after the marriage. So that's about the K3 marriage. The K3 visa is for spouses of US citizens and works in much the same way as K1 visa. However, okay, so I would strongly recommend for people to shy away from the K3 visa, because the problem is that the amount of time it takes for the K3 visa to get approved is similar to what it takes for the immigrant visa, to kind of process. So it's much better for you to kind of basically go for the direct permanent residence rather than going for the K3 visa. So be careful about that. Now, how much will a K1 visa cost? Depends upon the country, depends on the length of the dating. Quite a few factors get involved, but the fees are pretty much reasonable. For K1, it's not a big expense, and it's much better for you to kind of consult an immigration attorney. And one other thing is, for people who don't know this, as I said, the name of the show is Complicated Issues in Marriage-Based Immigration. Uh, Same-sex marriages, yes, they are possible. Now, sometimes you are in love with a member of the same sex who lives in a foreign country, and that country doesn't allow same-sex marriages. We've handled cases like this. If you're in that kind of a relationship, remember the simple secret. Go to info@gehilaw.com and send me your question. Our website is www.gehilaw.com, and we have three offices located in New York, and our numbers are 718-263-5999 for a free initial personal consultation. That's our Jackson Heights office, and our office, which is located in Ozone Park, the number is 718-577-0711. And our office in Jamaica is 718-764-6911. If you're sponsoring your relatives, if you have a marriage-based immigration case, if you're sponsoring your children, or even if your marriage-based immigration case was denied, or even if you're in deportation, or if you're charged with a marriage fraud, or if your immigration case was denied because of your marriage, it doesn't matter where you are. You can email us. We also do a lot of Zoom consultations with the clients from all over the United States and the world. So the secret is go to gehilaw.com and you'll be able to figure it out easy. It's gehilaw.com. And don't forget, for all our viewers, I've published a book, and the book can be a very, very helpful tool. And the name of our book is Immigration for Everyone. And we have a very special promotion going on, which is a 50% promotion. And that book covers everything you want to know about US immigration. I've tried my best to cover everything as much as possible. By the word everything, I mean from my perspective. And I've done my best. And it's more than 300 pages. And if you are even applying for a fiance or visitor visa or any kind of visa, or if you're abroad, and if you want to explore your options to come to the United States, the secret is my book, and the name of the book is Immigration for Everyone by Attorney Gehi, third edition. Go on Amazon.com, look for it now, Google it, Immigration for Everyone by Naresh M. Gehi on Amazon. Get a copy of it, and I assure you that you may like it very much. And thank you, folks. We will be back again. Remember, it's the third edition. So 2 books have already written by me, and the third edition has a lot more than the previous 2 editions. So make sure that you go and click on the third edition of the book and get the recent copy of the book. And it's going to be just amazing for people who want to know anything about US immigration. So folks, next week, same time, same place with Attorney Gehi. And remember, don't forget to share the video, and I'd love to see basically the likes from all my fans. Thank you so much, and we'll be back again next week, same time, same place with Attorney Gehi. And to all my Spanish friends, hasta la vista, and to people who speak other languages, salam alaikum, to people from Saudi Arabia and from the Arabic world, and fir milenge to people from India. And we'll be back again to all of you, with all of you from our friends from the English speaking world. Keep watching this program and share this video. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome, and we handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. Next week, same time, same place, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Green Card with Gehi.